The Border Patrol is completely overwhelmed. Facilities overflowing and unsanitary. We're going to show you how the Trump administration is actually trying to protect these children and give you a look at their real living conditions.
One of our lawmakers went through one of those facilities, and we saw that little girl wiping her tears as she was huddled down. The conditions were better. They said we could actually, I felt like it was so clean I could eat off the floor. He said I did see the agents comforting kids.
You see these overcrowded detention centers. Frankly, I find it abusive towards these kids. None of us would want to be in a detention center. I'm being very clear about that. But you know what? People are safe. People have recreational activities, soccer fields, and they're not dying.
10 to 12-year-old little boy with the tears streaming down his face. And you could hear it in his voice. He said, I am afraid.
The treatment these children are getting is pretty darn good.
And those who do make it across the border are often held in cramped cages. Are the Democrats for these children? Do they matter? Like it or not, these aren't our kids. It's not like he's doing this to the people of Idaho. These are people from another country.
As of tonight, there are no more beds in border facilities. We have long passed the point of not enough. The Biden administration seemed totally unprepared for it. The argument on the other side is that the Trump administration has constructed cages, and they'll get teary as they tell you this, into which, for reasons of racism, it is throwing Latin American children and letting them languish. Is that true?
No, it's not true.
The national left-wing media has undergone a fundamental transformation. They are gushing over President Biden.
You are, if I may say, everything is advertised as you ran for president. You're also one of the most loved and respected.
I would say that also.
In history.
Well, get ready. It's going to be 4 years of nauseating, gauzy coverage. The watchdogs, well, they're just lapdogs. Are you having fun in this job?
I am.
Is it?
I love it.
Look at the economy.
Take a look.
Are you getting the credit for this economic revival?
They continue to fawn over this guy like he's Jesus Christ.
The media, pretty vicious, not just to you, but to your family. How do you process that?
The answer to the question is mainstream media loves him.
Right over there is your hotel.
Yeah, that's right. Isn't that beautiful? Isn't that beautiful?
It's a beautiful hotel.
Real change in tune with a new leader in the White House. The pundits were not hiding their excitement.
When you were with the president of China, you're launching these military strikes. Right there, you're saying, a reminder, here's who the superpower in the world is. When did you tell him?
But I'll tell you.
Before dessert?
But I will tell you. Only because you've treated me so good for so long, I have to tell you, right?
He's used to the media asking him easy questions. We want to get to Kanye West. He tweeted that he loves you, that you're his brother, and
he's got good taste.
The left goes ballistic. What's your reaction?
Yeah.
The tingling sensation up and down the media mob's legs, well, they are throbbing like never before.
Promises made, promises kept. Mr. President, thank you.
Will he keep Donald Trump's Air Force One color scheme change?
Those were just some of the hard-hitting questions the press threw at Jen Psaki this week, and a preview of what we should expect from the mainstream media over the next 4 years.
Given your ability, your successes, all of the things that you can talk about for 2 hours here.
Yeah.
How are we going to get that across to the American people?
Wow, double standard much?
You know, there are 75 million people that voted for President Trump, and they're scared. They're worried about what the future of this country looks like. Many of them...
They're confused.
They are. They're confused. They're heartbroken that their candidate didn't win, and they don't want to be forgotten. Why does the left struggle so much with accepting defeat? Democrats might have another reason to cry come 2018. Do you think Democrats need to move on and just accept what's happened?
Oh, there's simply no doubt the left's mob-like tactics are backfiring.
A lot of these people are not dispossessed. They're not some, creepy androgynous blogger who shows up to burn things down. They're like kind of solid Americans, and they're deeply frustrated. And I wonder if people in Washington, where I spent most of my life, really understand and empathize with their frustration. Look around. Who's angry? Who's yelling? Who's hysterical? The left. Don't you think that it's true that when you accept blame for things, when you realize that your failures are your fault, it's liberating. It's good for you. You feel better when you do that. My God, you crybabies, you lost. Stop trying to find excuses for your failures. Self-responsibility is wonderful, oh, but rare.
And that's tonight's Twitter Storm.
You know, I just feel for the president. I see the pain and the frustration. You do everything you're supposed to do. You run the country well. You campaign your heart out while the other guy's in a basement. And then in the end, fraud and shenanigans at the local level, you're robbed. When Republicans lose, Eric, they accept the results, they reflect on it, and they come back stronger. Democrats have not figured out in politics that when you lose, you don't get a second place trophy, you don't get a juice box or a therapy dog, and I think that this is what's happening here.
Americans are sick and tired of being lied to and not being listened to. They're also unhappy about the fact that there's seemingly no desire to fix an election system that clearly has problems.
Coddled crybaby liberals continue to freak out over